Hey guys, so today I have three things that I want to talk about that I think are the most important things to focus on to have a financially successful trucking company if you're a smaller company in August of 2023. Obviously, the market has been down a ton, so I think that these are the primary things to focus on given that there's far less demand to make your company successful and set out from the rest. Okay, so the first thing I'm trying to do is generate more demand for my service and get more customers. Okay, so what we do essentially is going on Google Maps and finding warehouses and then cold calling them. So that's step one, right? So if you're on here, you can kind of see, like, let's see if we zoom out and then you go to, let's say, one of these areas, you could see where all the warehouses are, right? So I could zoom in here to Logan Township, see where all the warehouses are, and find leads potentially that way by, clicking and then finding the phone number and then calling and asking, hey, I'm a local trucking company looking for, an opportunity to serve you guys. Who would be the best person to reach out to sign up as a vendor with you guys? Something along those lines, but that's just one way. Okay, so the second method that we use here, you can see is this sales software that we use called Zoom Info. So I won't pull up anyone's specific phone numbers, but basically what you could do is search by location, industry, how far away from a specific zip code. And then you have a list of companies here. You have, CEO, president. You could search it by job title, but you could see, okay, this person's more likely to answer the phone. This person's more likely to answer an email. So you get really good information on here. It's not always perfect, but it's a really good way to actually get the client's actual information. Because if you call the number on Google, a lot of times you're not going to get the right person. So you can find the company on Google, then look it up on something like Zoom Info, and then get the actual, personal cell phone number or email of the person that you're looking to get in contact with. Now, sadly, with the way that the market is right now, really none of these people have any incentive to switch to you, which is why you have to reach out to a ton of people and keep following up with the people that you've reached out to. Because freight has gone down so much, these guys already have their carriers. They're going to give you stuff like, oh, I can't even get my current carrier enough work. So the third way here is to ask for recommendations from your other current customers. If you have current customers right now, probably they know other people who ship freight. But in order to get this recommendation, you also have to be so perfect at the operation, just never miss any deliveries. So that kind of segues me into the second point here, which is how do you be absolutely perfect on the operation? So how can you set up your company to never ever miss a delivery? There are ways to do this, and I think that the usual mentality of companies is that, oh, well, I'm doing better than what the other company's doing. So like basically the we suck less than other companies mentality, where I do think it's actually possible to have above, a 95, 99% delivery rate. So last week we actually had our best week where we had 100 deliveries and 99 of them were actually made on time. And the one that was not made on time, basically the driver was towed 20 miles away from the destination 2 hours before the delivery was supposed to be made, and we couldn't get the truck released from the tow company because it was on highway in Massachusetts, but we couldn't get the truck released from the tow company in time and we missed the delivery. So we ended up making it the next morning. But all other 99 deliveries were made on time. Now, in my opinion, the only way to actually achieve this high of a delivery rate is to be both asset and brokerage based. When we were solely asset based, we were not able to make all these deliveries on time. We were far worse when we were solely asset based. Another thing we changed actually in the last month and a half here too is text and phone call confirmations for drivers on the load the following day. So we used to do, let's say 80% of it via email, but if you do it via text and via phone call, you actually have a far better chance of that driver actually remembering to do the run. Which sounds dumb, but in the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you got to kind of make the information as easily inhalable for the driver as possible, because you want to have the success. I think in terms of the successful operation, it really comes down to two very simple things. Is the truck going to start, and is the driver going to show up on time? Now, if the truck doesn't work or the driver doesn't show up on time, you need backup capacity, which you get through the brokerage. In my opinion, if you're setting up a trucking company, you shouldn't view it as just a trucking company because there's a billion of them out there. There's 400,000 owner-operators in the United States. If you actually want to separate yourself, if you want to make an individual good living, you could do that as an owner-operator. But if you're trying to start like a real company and be a little bit more outside of a contractor, I think you need to have the ability to do both brokerage and do the asset-based. Now, the third thing we've been really focused on is setting up the brokerage in an operational method that actually works. So what we found is that to get the best rates and to get the best carriers on consistently, you have to set up the run as a power only run. This means that you get the trailers, you set up the trailers with, we use trackers from Motive, and you post the runs as power only on the load board, right? Or right now we just post on DAT Express. And the good part about this is that you can usually find we found a lot of local guys in New Jersey and Delaware that we use on the power only runs that you can use consistently, and that way you can actually trust them, right? Because when you're brokering, the number one thing that could go wrong is that it's a random scam or just a company you don't know or they have nothing on the line type of deal. We find these power only guys, we set it up through the trailer trackers, and then we find these power only guys via the load board, but also actually going to the local truck stops, not like a Pilot or a TA where you get people from all over the country. You go to a local truck stop where they actually have local truck parking, or go to a shared parking lot. I think that also if you're starting up as an owner operator, you should almost definitely be in a shared lot to network with the other drivers in the yard. If that's not the case, set up your brokerage, say like, hey, I'm a local broker, put a flyer on the trucks, and just grow a network of local guys that can help you get runs done, so that when you're in a pinch or a customer needs something, you have 100 phone numbers you can text to say, hey, could you help me out on this run? And it's way more likely that you're going to get that last second coverage with power only versus a guy with a trailer, because that's just another thing you need then is a trailer at that point. So essentially, instead of buying a truck, you're just getting more capacity by having more phone numbers of owner operators in your area to work together with. So I feel like what you want to be is you want to be getting all the work coming in. So making the cold calls, getting the customers, and then being able to expand your capacity by networking with owner operators. But the way you get more work is to first network, but make the cold calls to get the work. And then the second part is really just making sure the service is absolutely perfect. Because if I look back and I think, oh my God, if we were just perfect on service over these last 4 years, then we would have kept, 2 or 3 more major customers where we would be in a much better position right now. It's equally, if not more important, to just focus on being absolutely perfect and making your standard 100% on-time delivery. It just has to be that. And then the next part is networking to gain capacity, which is basically the brokerage, right? So like setting up the brokerage, not just only posting loads on the load board, but actually growing your network of local companies that can help you service new work that you're getting. And doing this by going to shared parking yards, going to local truck stops, and communicating more intimately with the drivers, like via text or via phone call, not just only on email. And the last little thing there that I think is really important with that is that if you're going to do this, you got to kind of have to try to be the best. So it's really answering the phone 24/7. That's just another major part of keeping that network. So if these guys are reaching out to you at 11 p.m. trying to do work and you're not answering, not good. It's just the game right now. I mean, if trucking was more in demand, maybe you wouldn't have to do all these things, but it's just simply not in demand. So in order to stand out, you have to actually go way more above and beyond than maybe you had to like a year and a half ago. This is just my opinion on things, my opinion on actually how to create the most perfect trucking logistics company possible, to have 99% delivery on time rates, to get the customers, to get the capacity in the most efficient way possible, so that the customers can be the happiest possible, because they are higher up in the money chain. Whoever pays you, you got to make sure that they're happy. So this is my opinion, moment in time, what I'm focused on. Let me know if you think I'm missing anything crucially important, and interested to see what other guys are trying. So let me know what you think, and thanks so much for listening.